Hey, Guy Powell here, and just getting ready to do the third round with Massimo Paris. And it's going to be another great session with some really good information. And as you can see already, we can see the head, the bust of Emperor Constantine. So, Massimo, take it over.
Hi, Guy, and well, it's a pleasure to be here for the third time. But actually, that was not the bust. That was a huge, gigantic bronze statue of not just the bust, but the whole. But this is what survives survives nowadays. Constantine was the emperor who, number one, defeated Maxentius in 12 through 212 at the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, and became at that point the ruler of the western part of the Roman Empire. But then he defeated Licinius in 2025 at the Battle of Lycopolis. At the point he became the emperor of the whole Roman Empire. As already mentioned, that this is what remains of a gigantic bronze statue of Constantine, and this is what remains of a gigantic marble statue of Constantine. So the one, do you see my cursor?
Yes.
So the head, that is the head. What remains of the statue is the head. That is what remains of the probably the right arm, and here and also another fragment of the arm. But so this is a reconstruction that has been made of that gigantic statue. Anyway,
Mm.
so having become the again the unique ruler of the whole Roman Empire, in 320 around 20, 326 327, Constantine's mother, Saint Helen or Saint Helena, went to the Holy Land, and she was told by the bishop of Jerusalem, that at the time was Macarius. His name was Macarius. That under that platform that we saw in the second part, there should have been the remains of the both of the Calvary and on the tomb. So she ordered to carry out some excavation. She was actually able to find in a cave under that platform that there was the remains of the true cross. Actually, there are two different versions about one version that is more legendary, that since there were several crosses, and that they put a dead person on all the crosses that were there, but then when the person was put on the cross of Christ, the person came back to life. That the legendary version. The other one is that probably there was still the Titulus Crucis, the tablet with INRI, that is the acrostic of Jesus Nazarenos Rex Judeorum, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. That probably what could identify it's more plausible that was the the real cause that. But at that point, so they identified that that was the area that the generation since 135, when Hadrian had ordered that area to be completely buried, and the temple, the pagan temple, to be built on top of it. The Christian families in Jerusalem transmitted verbally that under that platform there was the Calvary, and there was the tomb of Christ. So he was the only one who could give that order, and he gave it. So and so the tomb was the tomb. Sorry, the temple, the pagan temple, had been built by Hadrian, was razed to the ground. And in that area, so practically, you see the cursor at the bottom here.
Yes, now we see it.
So, so he built this complex that it practically was made of three, if you want, three buildings, or at least three parts. So one here on the left hand side, he was with a circular building that was called the rotunda. Rotunda means in Latin means the circular. This was a circular building with the big dome, and at the center, on the ground floor, the center of the rotunda, there was the edicule that sheltered the tomb of Christ. Then there was this courtyard that was covered on three sides by a portico, so it was called a triportico. And you see here on the southeast side of that courtyard, there was the rock of Calvary. It was left unprotected, uncovered. And then he built this here further east. He built this huge basilica with five naves, a big central nave and two side naves on each side. That was called the Basilica of the Martyrium. So now the next slide I'll show. This is an enlargement how the edicule. The edicule was practically edicule from edicula in Latin, which means a small edifice, a small building. The edicule practically sheltered what was the tomb of Christ, and they built this small edifice around. And all around there was the rotunda of the anastasis. This is I think it is made of wood. This is a model of the complex built by Constantine. So here on the left hand side, that is the dome of the rotunda of the anastasis. That is the triportico courtyard, and the Calvary or Golgotha is here. And then there was the Basilica of the Anastasis. This is another view, a bird's eye view of that wooden model. So the rotunda of the Anastasis is here at the bottom, on the bottom left hand side, and there is a slice, an opening has been made in the dome to show the edicule at the bottom and on the center of the ground floor. Then there is the triportico with here on we see the Golgotha or Calvary, the rock of Calvary there, and then there was the Basilica of this is a model that is at present time is in Narbonne, France. To give you an idea, it's made of marble. It's about 1 meter 34 centimeters high, so it's about 4 feet 6 inches tall. But this is a model made by some anonymous pilgrim who went to the Holy Land, took the measurements of the edicule, and had the edicule sculpted in marble on a smaller scale. It's
Hmm.
now at present time is in Narbonne, so in France. So this shows how the edicule would look from the east. So that was probably the entrance to the into the tomb of Christ. Here there were one, and of course now they have been broken, they have disappeared, but there was one column here, one column there, second column. There were two columns on both sides that evidently there was like an open forecourt or an overhang that was like a yes, an antechamber, but to the real burial chamber, but it was open. So this is how we do look if you look at the tomb from the east. This seems that same structure, but seen from the west, from the other side. So here we can see that. So here there were five columns around the. Okay, I'll show you. So this is the plan of the model from Narbonne. So there
Yeah,
were
makes sense.
four columns, and then there were five columns in around the burial chamber. Go back to the
Hmm.
I okay. My computer is I decided to play tricks on me. So here we see the remains, the basis of the 1, 2, 3, 4. We see the fifth column that was around the burial chamber. Evidently, also the wall of the cover that surrounded the burial chamber has been broken. But that is practically the stone bench on which the body of Christ had been placed to rest. And also from descriptions from the gospel, it says that and also from other pilgrims, it was said that the stone bench was as soon as once entering into the burial chamber was immediately on the right hand side. And so entering from the east would be from the other side that we saw. The stone bench would be on the right hand side. This is fascinating because here on the left hand side we see that is the plan of the Narbonne model. This is the plan of the present time edicule. It was rebuilt almost completely but what was this the last renovation was made in 1810 by the Greek architect Nikolaos Komnenos. But what is interesting is that if you look at the angle at which the stone bench was inside the Narbonne model, and we see the angle at which the stone bench is inside the present day edicule, they are almost identical. Look that
Hmm.
angle there. Look at that angle there. They almost no they almost I would say they match practically perfectly.
So the bench then is at an angle to the door that
Yes,
went into the tomb,
yes.
to the entryway.
It's a slight angle.
Yeah, yeah.
Consider that at the first century AD they didn't have laser pointers. They have all the technology that we have nowadays. So. This is a mosaic from the Church of Saint Pudenziana in Rome. Of course, we can recognize Christ at the center, but what is behind him almost surely are structures from Jerusalem. And
Hmm.
that is almost surely was the rock of Calvary that at the
Hmm.
time after Constantine had built that complex of the rotunda, the courtyard and the basilica had been left in the open air, was not protected by any neither roof nor other walls or well, it was inside the courtyard. So it was inside the complex of built by Constantine, but it was not covered by any roof. And then Theodosius II, he built a cross on top of it. This is probably bigger than what it actually was, but then if we look at if we look at these two buildings here you see there is a building with the dome. You see here that is
Hmm.
that very well, almost certainly that was the representation of the rotunda of the Anastasis and the Constantine complex, and that very likely the building to the right between the dome of the rotunda of the Anastasis and the Calvary, that one which had a gabled roof Very likely was the basilica of the Martyrium, built also by Constantine.
You know, it's funny, that image from Pudenziana of Jesus there is one of the earliest images of him with a beard. And you can notice a lot of the characteristics that are around the face and the hair and the beard that resemble the characteristics that are found on the shroud.
Well, yes, that definitely says a long hair, long beard, and this is a floor mosaic. Here it looks like on a vertical, but practically it's a picture of it was on a floor, a mosaic built on a floor. A mosaic that has been dated to the 6th or 7th century AD, and is a mosaic of Jerusalem. Jerusalem here, if you see here, it's in Greek. There is Hagia, which means holy, polis, which means city, and then Jerusa, and then the name of the town is broken. So, but almost surely, almost sure that at this point it's absolutely that was Hagia, polis, Jerusalem. So the holy city of Jerusalem. So here we can still, um, if we see, we can see there that was the Cardo Maximus that had already been built by Hadrian. What Constantine, when Constantine raised to the ground the platform where he didn't change the structure of the Cardo Maximus, so he left the Cardo Maximus. So that was the although here that was the street that went from north. That was the north gate and the city walls at the time of both of Constantine, Hadrian, and Constantine. So that was left. What was this area here? So now look at like this. It doesn't make too much sense. But in the next slide I shall flip the slide this image upside down. So this way. So now if you look at the structure within that oval white mark, you see here there are what looks like there are four steps. Then there are three doors, one, two, and three. Then there is a building with the gabled roof, and then behind that there is the dome of the Anastasis. So now, if comparing with the model the wooden model we saw earlier, so there were some steps to the three doors. Then there were three doors. Then the gabled roof. Then the courtyard with the Calvary, and then so back to the former. Some steps there. One, two, three, four. Then three doors, the gabled roof, and then there was the courtyard, and then the dome of the Rotunda de Anastasis. That makes sense?
Yeah, very much so. Wow.
So practically both the artistic and archaeological evidences match practically. So
Mm.
it's okay. So this is the development of the practically what was around the tomb of Christ during the century. So initially, the tomb of Christ here, that is is the ground plan of the original tomb on the western side of the quarry. So the tomb had been actually was not completed when Joseph Arimathea offered to allow the body of Christ to
Mm.
be laid to rest. But all around it, there was a huge bank of stone from the quarry. Then when Constantine ordered the remake of the whole area. Um, so he practically had the whole bank of stone around the tomb removed. He left also this kind of circular structure of stone, and he transformed it into the original edicule with the four columns in front of the entrance, and the five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns around it. And then this is so around the years 30-33, B around 330, D C around 335, and then we see the present day edicule that was rebuilt by Nicolaus Komnenos in 1810. Okay.
So why do you think that the tomb is at an angle? Any thoughts?
In the book of the Byron McCain, that archaeologist who wrote that book, Roll Back the Stone, that I mentioned in the first part of my presentation, that book for me was triggered a paradigm shift in my approach to the Tomb of Christ. He said that, and I mentioned also in the first part, that there were tombs that contain what were called kohim. The kohim were the loculi. There was like the horizontal shaft that were hewn
Hmm.
perpendicular to the wall of the burial chamber. Sometimes there were kohim that were so poorly measured that they started and then they will practically intersect one another. So I would say
Hmm.
that they didn't have a super perfect tools of measurements.
Yeah,
That
very
that is
interesting.
the main reason that I can think of.
Yep.
Now, here we have the evolution of the edicule, that structure that with the shelter of the tomb, starting in the fourth century. That is the top left is when the one built at the time of Constantine. Then in 614, Khosroes Anushirvan, the Persian king, he besieged and conquered Jerusalem, and he slaughtered a huge amount of people. But he set the complex built by Constantine on fire, but he didn't try to raise it to the ground. So that was around in 614. But then in 1009, the Fatimid Caliph Al-Hakim, he was from Egypt, he ordered his men to raise the whole complex to the ground. So the rotunda of the Anastasis, the edicule, the triportico, and the basilica of the Martyrium. In the couple of centuries that followed, the very slowly, with a lot of patience at the time, the Byzantines first, and then the Crusaders rebuilt the rotunda of the Anastasis, and they practically recovered the courtyard of the triportico with another dome structure. So if you remember at the beginning of the first part, I showed them when there are those two domes, a larger dome and a smaller dome. So the larger dome practically covers the rotunda of the Anastasis that has the edicule at the bottom of the center. The smaller dome is what covers that part that was at the time of Constantine was the triportico, the courtyard covered on three sides by a portico. Unfortunately, after the destruction of Halakim, the basilica of the Martyrium got lost forever. Was never rebuilt
Hmm.
in its entirety. So there are some archaeological some remains part of other structure, but no, was never rebuilt.
Hmm.
Um, so then, if we go there, when you see at the bottom left, the 16th century, In 1555, Boniface Ragusa he ordered the edicle to be rebuilt completely from the ground. Um, Now, anyway, going back to the destruction of ordered by Al-Hakim, his men, of course, the more they demolished. At the time, they had not as nowadays bulldozers and trucks that carry away the debris practically in real time. The more the more they demolish, the more the debris are taken away. Of course, the more they demolished, the more the debris is accumulated at the ground level. So there are reports that they were able to demolish the roof of the edicule built by Constantine, but they were not able to raise they were not able to demolish the buildings to the ground level practically. So
Right.
and this has been somehow also evidenced also in the restorations of the 2016 and 2017 that they said they found out that there were still the walls of the burial chamber were still there. The south wall were up almost 6 feet, and the north wall, the one where there is probably at the lower height, but nonetheless was still there. Was still there.
Hmm.
So as I said, so in 1555, Boniface Ragusa ordered the rebuilding of the whole edicule. Excuse me. And then the edicule that we see nowadays is what we see, and I'll show some pictures later. That the reconstruction was done, carried out in 1810 by the Greek architect Nikolaos Komnenos after a fire that took place in 1808. So the fire took place in 1808 and 1810. It was the whole edicule was practically rebuilt. Now, if you enter from the south entrance, that slide that I saw, there was the first slide that I showed at the beginning of the first part. As soon as you enter, then you turn to the left. A pilgrim goes towards the rotunda of the Anastasis with the edicule of the shelter of the tomb. But immediately, as soon as someone enters, immediately to the right, there are some steps that go to a second floor practically. And there is this area. This is the area where practically the top of the top of Calvary. And so here we can see that you see this area. You see here the bottom right hand side. You see that whitish limestone rock. That is the rock of Calvary.
Hmm.
You see that in between, it seems like there are like two rocks, and there is a big crack in between.
Hmm.
See, I'm moving there. That is the crack that even the Saint Matthew the Apostle mentioned that formed as a result of the earthquake that took place when Christ died.
Mm.
The split rocks. So and actually that we shall see better in the next slide. So this upper part is the one that I showed in the earlier picture. So there is the cross. Sorry, there is a cross of Christ. That is Saint John the Evangelist. That is the Blessed Mother. I'll show again. So this is the cross of Christ. This is Saint John the Evangelist. That is the Blessed Mother on the other side. But oops, here at the bottom is the rock of Calvary. But actually, so what we saw was that the crack there, but the crack goes through all the structure of Calvary that was included then during the Middle Ages into the rebuilding made by the Byzantines first and the Crusaders later. But so the upper part on the second floor is visible, and then the lower part this crack was practically included in the structure. So to be visible at this lower level, what we see here, what is called here A, there is like a window. You see this one?
Hmm.
See that A is a window. That is this one. Through you see there the crack of you see the crack there?
Yep. Uh-huh.
So that is at the lower level, another way of showing that still that the crack that practically split almost into the rock of Calvary when as a result of the earthquake that so this is like a cross section seen from south of the rock of Calvary that was included during the Middle Ages into the structure that were rebuilt after the destruction of ordered by Al-Hakim in 1009. Um, so here is where there is that the altar and the cross that we saw earlier with Saint John on one side, the Blessed Mary on the other side. That is the spot where there is a small altar there, and there is also a silver disc that allegedly claims that that was the spot where the cross had been inserted into the rock of Calvary. But actually, we shall see later. So this is the altar that we saw. This small altar here. The next slide is this is magnified. So this is an altar that was built in 1810 by the architect Nicolaus Komnenos, the same who rebuilt the edicule in the rotunda. But out of respect, he moved west, the spot where the cross about 40 centimeters. That is about almost a foot and a half out of the respect. So that was that cavity there. You see that cavity to the left
Yep.
of the altar. That is where the cross
Yep.
was actually had been placed.
Yep.
Um, in 1986, two Greek archaeologists, Labas and Mitropoulos, they removed the marble slabs of the floor and started excavating the site of the crucifixion and found this rings stone ring that has a diameter of 19 centimeters. It's about almost 6 feet. Sorry, 6 inches. That was practically a ring that was used to stick the steepest, that is the pole of the vertical pole of the cross, to prevent it from tilting, from falling to the ground. So, and that was found. You see there around that stone ring, there was a cavity, practically, and it was in that cavity that the cross, the steepest, the vertical pole of the cross had been placed.
Yeah, phenomenal. It's hard to believe that that was found, and plus, it's hard to believe that that they had that they used that on the cross to hold it up. It's phenomenal.
Well, sometimes we think that but we use the word the rock of Calvary, but sometimes we think that the rock. It happened to me too. Sometimes, well, evidently they dig a hole, but
Hmm.
the hole was already there, and very likely the steepest, the vertical pole of the cross were already on the spot. Christ
Yeah.
carried the patibulum, that was the crossbar, and then once there, they nailed his wrist to the crossbar,
Yep.
lifted him on top of it, and then they nailed the feet. So,
Yep. Yep.
but again, those Lavas and Mitropoulos, those Greek archaeologists that carried out the excavation in the 1980s, 86 in particular. So they so uh,
Any idea how far away the crosses were for the two thieves, the penitent and the impenitent thief?
no, because one thing is sure, Constantine definitely, in order to fit the rock of Calvary into the structure of the rotunda, the courtyard, and the basilica, he cut parts of the Calvary. So
Mm,
there is in also I think in the first part I mentioned that book. That book written by Shimon Gibson, that archaeologist of British origin, but who has excavated extensively in the Holy Land. He said that he had estimated with another archaeologist that the area that the present time area at the top of the Calvary is too small to 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 have space for three crosses.
yeah, yeah,
So the point is that with almost with the most absolute certainty, Constantine must have reduced moved some of the must have altered. He altered
yeah,
the
yeah,
original structure of Calvary as it appeared at the day of the crucifixion.
yep.
But anyway, so I showed earlier that the altar that was that is the one that is here at the bottom of the drawing, the one built by Nicolas Komnenos in 1810. That is where the ring stone was found. But as I mentioned, Komnenos, sorry, oh gee. Today the computer is taking a life of its own. So, um, he moved the spot out of respect about 40 centimeters west. Uh,
Hmm.
so in this case, that is not north. That is east. This is west. That is
Yeah,
north. That is south. So he moved the spot of about 40 centimeters, I said, almost a foot and a half. So he placed the disc where people stick the hand, thinking
right.
that uh, out of piety, of course, they go back thinking, well, I stuck my hand where actually, but actually the real spot of the crucifixion was a foot and a half further east, and the
Hmm.
present day disc actually is 40 centimeters further west. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
but so the drawing so that is the fracture that we saw some couple of evidences that was the result of the earthquake. That was the cavity at the bottom of which, at the depth of 1 foot, there was that ring of stone. And this is the altar but the altar was placed already there in 1810.
Hmm.
And they found also engraved on the rock a small cross. I'll show you. So I show here, if I show you like this, it don't make too much sense. But I show how the drawing is, and then I'll go back to this slide. So it's a cross like this. It looks
Yeah.
like three very small tennis rackets, or and
Hmm.
an arm of the cross without anything at the end. So if I go back so you see there one that is one of
Yeah.
the rackets. That is the second one, and here is the third one, and that is the arm of the cross without any other drawing at the end.
Right.
Now, so this is how the burial chamber looks, at least internally. Um, that that slab, that was the one that was placed by at the time of the reconstruction of the attic at the time of Boniface of Ragusa in 1555. So no one had removed that slab from that time. So no one knows what was under there. Um,
Well, but that was removed during the recent renovation.
yes, yes, I'm
Yeah.
going there. I'm going there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
No, no, no problem. But in 1927, there had been an extremely bad earthquake in Jerusalem, and they had kind of damaged also the Basilica of Holy Sepulchre to the point that I have some picture that the British conquered Jerusalem during First World War, and then they left it in 1947. Um, but so the British placed some scaffolds they wanted to close the whole basilica. They didn't want to be, they claimed it was unsafe, but um, evidently the three denominations were able to convince them. So they placed some scaffolds in the front, and they placed those iron girders
Yeah.
all around the attitude to like to harness it, like to place the structure to prevent that it could collapse.
Yep.
But then in 20, okay, so in oops oops in okay, so anyway, the in 20 in 20 around 2015, the Israeli authorities had decided, told that attitude was unsafe, even with the iron girders. The marble slab were buckling, so there was risk that it could collapse any any day and could bury probably pilgrims inside. So it was decided that the three denominations, so the Franciscans for the Catholics, the Greek Orthodox, and the Armenians agreed that the restoration had to be carried out, and the Technical University of Athens was entrusted with the work, and so this is the so between the work started in June 2016, but were completed in 2017. Uh,
Hmm.
mm, but since they also removed the marble the slabs that were covering the structure from they found out something that they didn't expect to, that the rock inside that had been eroded, but there had been a lot of water infiltrations. Because okay, now the present day dome, the oculus, that big circular opening at the top,
Hmm.
is covered, but for centuries has been opened, so it would
Mm.
rain inside all the time.
Hmm.
Um, so they did injection of liquid cements to reinforce the structure of the rock
Right.
inside the edicle. But while they were doing those works of injections of cement, one of the workers, not one of the archaeologists, one of the workers said, "Well, what if that liquid cement you have been injecting ended up covering the stone of where the body of Christ been laid and seated for forever?" So
Yeah.
they decide to they requested they requested to again to the three denomination, the Armenians, the Greek Orthodox, and the Catholics, the permission to remove that slab had been placed by, at the time of Boniface the Recluse in 1555. The Greek Orthodox said only at one condition: no more than 60 hours, 2 days and a half.
Hmm.
So, okay, they agreed. And so this is a picture taken from the top of the inside of
Yep.
the chamber. that is the slab. Um, this is when the day they started to remove the slab.
Yep.
This is still staying from the top, but so this is the north wall. This is the east wall. So the west the west wall, and that is the east wall.
Yep.
They removed. They found that there were a lot of debris, dust, pebbles. So they cleaned it, and finally, this is what for 6 hours. This is what was visible. So there was this gray slab that was broken and was dated to the time of the Crusaders. But these white chalky limestone stone that has with almost absolute certainty that was the stone on which the body of Christ
Yeah.
was laid to rest.
Mm.
So I would say that is on that piece of stone. Christ was laid to rest in the shroud, and in that within the shroud, one of the most important events in the history of mankind, if
Yeah.
not the most important event in the history of mankind, took place was the resurrection of
Yep.
Christ,
Yep.
Mr.
Yep.
Sun. And with this, I'm concluding the third part, and
Fantastic. Wow. It is so fascinating. And then this picture with that little cross there. So underneath this stone, this gray stone, is the actual limestone where Jesus would have been laid.
no, well, so uh, that slab on the upper part of the picture,
Yeah,
that is a slab that was put there by the Crusaders.
right.
I don't know why it's broken, but when they removed when they removed the slab had been put in 1555, they found that slab there was broken. So
Yeah.
I don't know
No,
what for
but
what reason, but the white stone under the gray slab, that is the stone bench on which the body of Christ was placed,
yeah, exactly.
wrapped on the shroud, of course.
Yeah, yeah. And so if he was, well, what's interesting is that piece there is not carved out square. It's carved out, at an angle on, there and right in the middle. The side of that stone there isn't quite, so it's not, it's not like a perfect table, so to speak. It's a little bit off. Is that right?
Yeah, the point is that I don't know at what angle the picture was taken. So
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
you mean this section here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the point is that I don't know if the picture was taken exactly parallel to the north wall of the burial chamber. I was taken at an angle, but yeah, it seemed there that
Yeah.
something is. I must say that there have been. I read that the pilgrims had the not very good habit of when they visit, they would take each pilgrim would try to take
Oh,
a small piece of stone, so one by
yep.
one, one by one, one by
Yep.
one. So at the point they tried to stop. So who knows how
Yeah.
much that affected the original shape of the stone bench. So.
Yep. Yeah. 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 That's a good point. That is a very good point. That is fascinating. Well, that was very interesting, and all three sessions were incredibly interesting and incredibly enlightening. There's so much good information. And it's fascinating to then take what you have and then with the cross and then that little cork, whatever you call that little ring, to hold to most likely hold the cross vertical in the hole. And then, of course, you have the split in the rock from the earthquake. Man, it's amazing how much really is reflected in the Gospels of what you can now exactly see at the in the in the Holy Sepulchre, and then in the Edicule, and then
Well,
in the Golgotha stone.
as I said already at the first part, there were a lot of scholars that had given interpretation that were not based on the Gospels. So I
Mm,
said, well, I shall start following what the Gospels say, and then let's see what the archaeology has to say. If the
hmm
archaeology confirmed the Gospels, very well, and this is what happened actually. If the archaeology doesn't, at that point, maybe I should try to find an alternative option to the description of the Gospels. But I definitely decide not to try to find an alternative option before finding what
Right, right,
what the archaeology had to say. And at,
right.
at that point, I couldn't find a better solution than to have recourse to the works of Father Corbo, the Franciscan archaeology who followed, supervised the works, the excavation at the Basilica Holy Sepulchre from 1963 until 1980. That so he was someone who firsthand supervised. So what he found out, he had firsthand experience of what of the excavation. So
Yep, yep, exactly. Wow, just phenomenal.
and
Well,
somehow
Mas,
somehow I'm sorry, but I think it's a strategy that demonstrate to be a sound one. Actually, the archaeology has confirmed that the gospel were correct. The gospels were correct.
yeah, yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what you'd expect, that they would be that archaeology would confirm the gospel writings. Fantastic. Well, Massimo, thank you so much for these three sessions. They are just absolutely phenomenally interesting for me and just to understand, and hopefully for the audience as well. And really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
It has been a pleasure and honor, and has been fascinating for me. And I hope to have been able to share with you and your audience some of the fascination that caused in me, the
Yeah,
excitement, the joy, the pleasure that caused
yeah.
carrying out this investigation. So
Yeah. Well, and then to end on the most important spot, the tomb of Christ, and where the most important event for all mankind took place. What a way to end. So again, thank you so much, Massimo. It's been fantastic, and let's close it off here. And for the audience, please stay tuned for many other videos in this series of the backstory on the Shroud of Turin. Massimo, thank you so much.
thank you to you.